Good morning, everyone. It's Dr. Herbert Harris, and this is Success Mentorship Class number 398. I love that echo. Class number 398, and our topic for today is one that, we've done variations on it before, and but it's one that right now at this point, at this particular time of year, is a critical one because many of us are going through, you might call it a point of, I call it stagnation. Many of us are going through a point where we seem to be stuck. And as we close this year out, there's so many vibrations in this year. There's so many vibrations on every level, economically, politically, business, personal, family, that we have to really be pumped up. We have to really be clear. We have to really be focused to get, not just get through it, but to grow through it so we can go to what's next. There are two important guideposts in life: now and next. And all that we learn, all that we study, all that we absorb is about how to get from now to next. And next is that life that we want to live, that life that we want to experience in business, in our personal lives, in our education, in our profession, in our community. And so this topic today, how to let go to rise up, is about helping you go from now to next. For those just joining us on Instagram and on YouTube, this is Dr. Herbert Harris, and this is Success Mentorship Class number 398. So let us prepare for our lesson today by taking a deep breath, hold it, let it out slowly. Take a deep breath, hold it, let it out slowly. And in this space of peace and relaxation, we give thanks for this opportunity to come together, to be together, to learn together, experience together, and to grow together. And in this moment of calmness and peace, we say, I am at peace with myself. Let us affirm that together. I am at peace with myself. And letting that peace sink in, we can now focus, knowing that my mind is open, receptive, and ready to learn. Let us affirm that. My mind is open, receptive, and ready to learn. Take a deep breath. Let it out slowly. And so it is. All right. Today, this topic, how to let go to rise up, is really a pivotal one because many of us get to that point where we realize that our success does not come so much by what we do, but where we realize that the next level of success comes from not what we add, but from what we release. All of us are really on the success journey, and we've been on this path for many years, and many of us have been on this path together. And one of the things we find that is as you're on this success journey, it's a lot like steps. If when you're going to a house and you see stair steps, there's a plateau, and then you You exist on that plateau. That's a level of consciousness. And you learn how to get things done efficiently at that level of consciousness. But there comes a point where you're not growing anymore. There comes a point where you have completed everything at that level of consciousness, and the only way to move to the next step is to increase your level of consciousness, to see more so that you can be more. And it's moving to that next step that often has us stuck. Many reasons we get stuck. But the point is, you can't climb this ladder. You can't climb this stairs carrying the weight of old fears, old failures, old relationships, even familiar routines. We can get into such a habit pattern, such routines, that our routines themselves keep us locked into where we are and hamper us from growing to where we should be. So letting go of stuff is not really a surrender, it's a strategic elevation. When you let go of stuff, it means that you have to evaluate everything going on in your life and get rid of the things that do not serve you and focus on the things that do serve you. Wherever you place your focus, that's where your power goes. Where focus goes, power flows. When we let go of these old habits, these old fears, outdated systems, we rise to a new level, a level of freedom, a level of creativity, a level of prosperity. I think everybody on here, everybody who gets up at 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning is looking for something that's very important to you, something that really means a lot to you. You're hungry to learn it so that you can move to that next step. So today I want to look at 4 keys that help us move from where we are to really where we want to be. The key number 1 is to release the past to embrace the future. You cannot exist in the past and the future at the same time. Many people, many entrepreneurs, especially, most of us here are entrepreneurs, and we can get stuck in yesterday's success. We can get stuck in yesterday's failures. In our lives, we can get stuck in yesterday's relationships, in yesterday's job, yesterday's performance. We can get hypnotized by past mistakes, and we can get mesmerized by past victories. You've met people and all they talk about is the last victory they had. You know, being a seasoned veteran myself, many times when I get around my contemporaries, they are dwelling on the past, what they did in the past, how great they were, how much money they made, how successful they were. And they are so stuck in the past that they're giving away the present and undermining their future. In business, you know, I'm a network marketer. And one of the things we find right now in this current age of artificial intelligence is a lot of the stuff we used to do doesn't work anymore. And so this means that you have to learn something new. You have to learn something different. And this is important, folks, why you have to always keep your mind on a learning posture. Because there's always something to learn new. The river of time never stops. It's always flowing. And so you have to always be able to navigate the river of time, which means you got to be aware of where you are at every particular point in time. So the bottom line is the past, old systems, old thoughts, old habits, old relationships can become prisoners. And that's why you can't move to the next step. We can have experiences that lock us in and we get stuck there for the rest of our lives. You know, one of the people that I really admired was Steve Jobs. Think about it. He was the founder of Apple. He grew the company to be an incredibly successful company. And then he got stuck. The company got stuck. They weren't growing anymore like they had been. And what did they do? They fired him. Now think about this now. When he got fired, he could have lived on in bitterness. He had money, so it really wasn't like they took bread off of his table. But his mindset could have had him in evil and mad with them and going on this assault. I'm going to attack the board. I'm going to attack the company. I want my job back. I found this company. I deserve it. No, he made a shift. And see, the shift is what can make all the difference in your life. He made a shift. Instead of staying on that, he developed the company next. He bought into Pixar. He also got a $150 million loan from Bill Gates, and that didn't hurt. But Bill Gates would not have loaned him that money if he didn't think that he was worth it, that he had the capacity to make a profit. Because he did not get stuck, because he made the shift, when the moving hand went around, he came back as CEO of Apple. If he had not done that, if he had not made that shift and stayed resentful, we may not even have an iPhone right now. So when you release the past, when you stop playing over and over what was, you make space for what can be. You see, energy can never be destroyed, but if you hold on to a particular vibration, that means that other vibrations that can lift you up can't come into your space. So look at the power of now. What do you do right now? And look at every failure as a training ground, a dress rehearsal for success. Look at every disappointment, every loss as tuition. Tuition paid in the University of Success, the College of Life. When you do that, you now have total command of the now. And innovation, creativity can happen. Once you free yourself from the past, you can fly. So I ask you today, and write this question down. Ask yourself, what idea, what relationship, or what identity am I holding on to that's blocking my next opportunity? What idea, what relationship, what identity am I holding on to that's blocking my next opportunity? The second key to letting go, to rise up, is to let go of fear and trust the process. Let go of fear and trust the process. Fear is that invisible chain that talented people especially get bound by, that holds you down, that keeps you from displaying your talent, that keeps you from sharing your talent, that keeps you from benefiting from your talent. There are a number of fears, but I'm going to enumerate a few. Fear of failure, so you don't try. Fear of success, so you're scared to change. Fear of the unknown, from lack of faith. Fear of rejection, hurts inside. Fear of not being enough, which is like quicksand. If there's one thing to take away from this message today, is that all you have and all you can do is all you can do, but all you can do is enough. If you always operate and say, I did everything I could today to make tomorrow the way that I want it to be, that's enough. So growth requires courage. Fear and failure cannot coexist. Nothing grows in the comfort zone. Think about this. If Steve Jobs had not been fired from Apple, It may not have given him that other perspective of these other companies that he found, that when he came back to Apple, he brought a whole nother mindset. So still, we might not have the Apple that we have today if he stayed stuck in that comfort zone. When you trust the process, when you know that divine intelligence, that same power that makes the sun rise, that makes the plant grow, that makes your heart beat, when you trust divine intelligence in guiding your life and guiding your business, then you can move boldly. Even when the road is not clear, when you trust the process, when you say, I know it's going to work out. I know that I have to take this next step. I can't see beyond this one step, but I have the faith to take that one step. That can create a shift. So faith is not blind belief, but faith is focused expectation. I'm going to say that again. Faith is not blind belief. Faith is focused expectation. So that means when they say faith is the substance of things hoped for, that means you must have a vision of something you want to be, do, and have so that faith can operate to take you there. If you're stuck right now, I'll give you a good thought. There may be things holding you back, but I'd say the number one reason that you stay stuck is that your vision of where you want to be is not clear enough. Because once your vision is clear enough and you can see it and feel it, it creates a vibration that sucks you into it. You know, Sarah Blakely, the lady who founded Spanx, she went from rejection to rejection to rejection, manufacturers, bankers, rejection, but she kept moving in faith. She knew that this was a product that people wanted. She understood it from a personal level, but she believed with total conviction that people wanted this product, that it would sell. And once she got going, the rest is history. But one of the things she said is very interesting. She said, faith is not the outcome. Failure is not trying. Failure is not the outcome. Failure is not trying. So then as long as you keep trying, sooner or later you're going to succeed. Sooner or later you're going to win. So if you're stuck right now, create that new vision that you have for yourself, make the shift, and you will win. So the thought we have right now is this. The question is, where is fear still controlling your decisions? I was thinking about going forward with some things that I want to do, and the thought came to me, it's like, stop playing small ball. Play big ball. You know, you can send your speaker sheet to the head of a department or to the head of a conglomerate. It doesn't matter. In other words, the vision that you have of where you belong, where you want to be, can be bigger. Yeah, I often tell you, one of my coaches, when I said my goal was to make $1 million a month, and he said, why so little? Why not make, I said my goal was to make $1 million a year. And he said, why so little? Why not make $1 million a month? And I realized I did not have a vision of what my life would be like if I made $1 million a month. And so right now, this is critical, folks, where you are right now. If you can't see where you want to be with clarity, with specificity, and in great detail, that's probably why you're stuck. The moment you can see it and let fear stop controlling your decisions and you go for it, nothing is impossible. When you let go of fear, courage takes over. And when you demonstrate courage, you become magnetic. which attracts into your space the things that you want. Third key, detach from the outcome and focus on alignment. You know, today with the AI and the social media, so much value is placed on the number of likes you get. Okay, the number of comments you get. In corporations, it's all about the profit margins. That as long as you measure your success and measure your completion in numbers, in outcomes, you can set yourself up for disappointment. You can be so committed to a particular outcome that you want to control everything. The measure of success is not in numbers, but it's in your why. That when you look at how successful you are, how happy you are about what you're doing and what you have become, it really is how congruent is that outcome with your purpose, with your why, with your reason for doing stuff. So when you can detach from the outcome, not focus on the results, but focus on why you're doing it. When you have a big why, your business will align with your why. When you have a big why, your life aligns with your why. When your life aligns with your why, it creates a harmonic vibration now that begins to attract into your space exactly what you need. And that's why you don't worry about the how, because you're operating on a different level of energy. You're operating on an energy of alignment, which says now your desires, your dreams are aligned with the universal force. You know, we can have 5 people singing separately, and it's okay. But when they come together and sing and they create a chord, they create harmony. It's like, wow, you hear stuff that you didn't hear when they were singing by themselves. That's because they are aligned in their vibrations. When you're aligned with your purpose, nothing is impossible. There are companies, for example, that just focus on profit. And that's good. I mean, you got to make a profit. But you have companies, one of the companies that I always liked was the company Patagonia. And they were a company that was really committed to the environment. So their whole thing was everything they did had to be environmentally sustaining. And in doing that, they created a whole new vibration, attracted millions of dollars, and it's one of the most successful ethical brands on the planet. So when folks said you have to be unethical to make money, that's not true. If you can align with your purpose, you can literally become harmonic and do anything you desire. So don't worry about the how. Don't worry about the statistics. You just focus on your why, on your vision. And the more that you can focus on it, the more that you can identify with it, the more you can feel it, the stronger that energy to attract into your life everything you need for it to manifest. And so when you're aligned, you stop focusing, you stop forcing, and you start flowing. So you don't have to beat your head against the wall. You flow over the wall. And finally, the key to rising up is to let go of control and empower collaboration. That's the lesson I think that many of us have to learn. We can burn ourselves out because we try to do too much ourselves. We feel that nobody else can do it as well as we can do it. And so to really rise above this really stagnant mindset, we have to learn to let go of control. You can't do it all. You're not supposed to do it all. Empower others. Delegate. Collaborate. Build teams that reflect your vision. When you build a team that reflects your vision, the mastermind principle takes place and it multiplies and magnifies your efforts. Great leaders create space for other leaders to emerge. Great leaders develop other talents. You know, and thank you, by the way, many of you who've already registered for our Making the 12 Universal Laws of Success webinar, Making the 12 Universal Laws of Success Work for You webinar. Many of you are already registered for it. And that's one of the points there, that in order for you to really create the success that you need to be able to collaborate, and not just to collaborate now, but to teach others so that you can create a bigger footprint, a bigger vibration. Oprah Winfrey built her empire not by controlling everything, but if you notice, Oprah surrounds herself with people, with teams who share her vision, but who multiply and magnify her impact. When you can release control and collaborate with other people, you move from operator to visionary. You move from managing tasks to manifesting possibilities. So I ask you to ask yourself this question. What would happen if I stopped doing it all myself? What would happen if I focus on building a team of people, of like-minded people who see my vision, who can do it better? Wow. So let's wrap up, folks. When we talk about letting go to rise up, it's not just an art, but it's also a discipline. To let go, you have to be disciplined and take control over yourself. It requires faith that you can move when you're not sure what the next step up, but you move on the one step you're sure of. Humility to set your ego aside, and courage to overcome past fears. So letting go is not about losing, it's about lifting. When you release the weight of the past, the grip of past failures, the pressure of control, it literally forces something to happen inside. It makes you rise mentally, makes you rise spiritually, makes you rise financially. When you get rid of the stuff that's blocking you, you open the floodgates to all the good that's waiting there for you. You just had to get past that block. So let go of the past so you can embrace the present, because it is in the present that you create the future. Let go of fear so that faith can flow. Let go of outcomes and focus on alignment. And let go of control by empowering others. When you let go, you don't lose, you lift. You rise to meet your purpose, your potential, your prosperity. So the final word today is, I challenge you to release what no longer serves your vision. Because the moment you let go, you rise up to become the person you were created to be. So the question to ask yourself today is, what am I ready to release? Because the moment you let it go, you rise up to meet your destiny. Letting go of what was so you can rise up to what's next. When you can do that, then you can truly be what you want to be, do what you want to do, and have anything you desire. Always knowing that the best is yet to come. Take a deep breath. Let it out slowly. And so it is. Wow. We'll let that marinate and sink in today. Thank you so much, those on Instagram, those on YouTube. I invite you very much so to be sure to visit our website. You know, we have our upcoming seminar, and a number of you have already registered, and I think you got one of your free gifts. Our seminar is coming up on the 25th of October. It's from 11 a.m. to 3:30 Eastern Time. And we're going to be going through the principles in the 12 Universal Laws of Success, teaching you how to use them. You'll have a workbook, and you'll be able to take that workbook and use these principles to help you lift, to help you break away from what's holding you back. And even beyond that, you know, we're looking to, one of my goals is to give up control. That the message in the 12 Universal Laws of Success has helped so many people around the world, but I can't do it all by myself. And so this webinar is to help identify those of you who would like to teach these principles and go out and share them with the world and empower other people and help transform their lives. And so you can go to our website, www.successlessons.net, www.successlessons.net, and get more information about the course. When you register, you're going to get a free gift right away, and it's a 54-minute seminar that we did, a live seminar on the 12 Universal Laws of Success, so you can start right away using these principles and transforming your lives. So once again, that's successlessons.net, www.successlessons.net. So thanks so much for being with us on Instagram, on YouTube. We enjoyed your presence. Please write some comments after we post it. Put some comments there, how the message has helped you, and share it with other people. And always remember that you can be what you want to be, do what you want to do, and have anything you desire, always knowing that the best is yet to come. And so it is. Those on the Mastermind Zoom,